Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back another video day, and today I wanted to be going over the two Los Angeles Clippers signings and free agency day one, and I liked what I saw from day one for the Los Angeles Clippers. Obviously, I don't know if there's a lot of hope for the Clippers fans right now. Losing Mason Plumlee today in free agency. Not only that, but Russell Westbrook is on his way out in the trade market. But the big one is Paul George and the Clippers are going to be moving on from each other, and he's going to most likely sign with the Philadelphia 76ers. So there are three key players that the Clippers are losing out this offseason. Their best player off the bench in Russell Westbrook, who averaged 11 points per game. Their backup center in Mason Plumlee, who averaged 5 and 5. And obviously their second best player in Paul George, who's soon to be on his way out from the Los Angeles Clippers. So with that being said, what were their two additions in day one of free agency? We're going to go over that. Derrick Jones Jr. is brought in on a 3-year, $30 million deal. I like this signing for the Clippers, although I don't, if this is potentially the Paul George replacement. I'm still hoping that the Clippers potentially try to find a way to replace Paul George by potentially adding in DeMar DeRozan or Tobias Harris. Obviously, Tobias Harris is nowhere near Paul George, but at the same time, Tobias Harris would be a way better replacement for Paul George compared to Derrick Jones Jr. And then same thing goes with DeMar DeRozan. I think some might argue that they'd rather have DeMar DeRozan in a Clippers uniform than Paul George. So I'm hoping that, the Clippers are adding in Paul George or Tobias Harris, and they're going to be the PG replacement. And Derrick Jones Jr. is coming off the bench. They want him off the bench, and he's going to do a great job coming off the bench. But if not, I hate this signing. If Derrick Jones Jr. is the Paul George replacement, I hate this signing. But I don't think that will obviously it could be if they're not able to sign DeRozan or Harris. But you have to make a move for one of those guys to potentially replace Paul George. Derrick Jones Jr. is still a good player, though. He played 76 games, 66 starts, 24 minutes per game. Shot 48% from the floor, 34% from 3-on-3 attempts per game. He averaged 9 points per game. He averaged 3 rebounds per game, 1 assist per game. He's very solid defensively. 1 steal per game, 1 block per game, or near 1 block per game. So he's not bad, but for a Clippers team that's been trying to win, that's not the way to replace Paul George. DeMar DeRozan or Tobias Harris is the way to replace Paul George, not Derrick Jones Jr. But the other signing I love, Kevin Porter Jr. Look, I'm a Rockets fan. I don't have a lot of faith in Kevin Porter Jr. On the floor, on the court, I have faith in Kevin Porter Jr., what he can do on the basketball court, but it's off the basketball court that's the problem. Look, as a Rockets fan, I can tell you all the issues, and people might think it's just if you're not paying close attention if you're not paying attention to Kevin Porter Jr., you might just think getting accused of beating up his girlfriend is the only issue with him. You were wrong. The reason he got traded to the Rockets was because he threw a fit in the Cleveland Cavaliers locker room. Look, I'm not gonna say the Cavaliers were right by doing this, but when the James Harden trade happened, when James Harden got traded to Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Nets sent Taurean Prince to Cleveland, and they gave Taurean Prince Kevin Porter Jr.'s locker, who was away from the team dealing with issues. And I believe the issues was I can't remember. But I think they caught him with a gun at an airport. I can't remember for sure, but there was some issue, and it involved a gun. While he was away from the team, he was dealing with some mental issues. He was taking a break from the team, so they gave him. And apparently, I think they were working on trading him already, but they gave him the KPJ locker. Which, look, I don't condone that, because why are you going to give a locker to someone who's new onto the team when that player's still on the roster? That's not cool. But it's the way he reacted to it. Kevin Porter Jr. then came to the Cavalier. He came back. Taurean Prince had his locker, and he started throwing things in their locker room and was screaming at the top of his lungs. Look, I'd be upset in that if I was on a basketball team and I was dealing with some issues and they gave my locker away to a new player, I'd be upset. I might raise my voice a little bit. but at the same time, I'm not going to throw things and I'm not going to scream at the top of my lungs. So that was one thing. So the Cavaliers had basically had enough from him after that. They trade him to the Rockets, my favorite team. He comes to Houston. Things were solid. The Rockets did a great job, and they really believed in him, not as a player, but as a person. They really tried to, get him through the issues he was going through, because I think he's had a really rough childhood. So they really, really worked on, getting him through these things, and really, 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 really tried. But at the same time, the first incident I remember, which this is actually kind of directed to me, or my section, I was at a Rockets game against the Golden State Warriors with two of my friends and one of my friends' mom. And this was the Golden State Warriors. One of my friends is a very big Stephen Curry fan. And solid kind of Warriors fan, more of Steph Curry. So his mom got tickets, took me and this other friend. We go to the game. Obviously, I feel like this is going to happen for any NBA stadium, maybe at the time, very, very popular for a Rockets team who was very terrible, but a lot, at least at Rockets games. I don't know how about other stadiums, but when guys like LeBron James or Steph Curry or Kevin Durant come to play the Houston Rockets, there are a lot of Lakers or Warriors or Suns fans at those games, or they're just Durant, Curry, or LeBron fans. Of course, that's going to be the case anywhere. Maybe you can say that for Luka Doncic as well. I've never been to a Mavericks Rockets game though, but I've been to a Bucks Rockets game. I've been to a Rockets Warriors game. I've never been to a Rockets. I've been to a Rockets Lakers game, but not a Rockets Lakers game where LeBron's playing. So. Yes, I have. I have. I've been to all three. I remember I went to a Rockets Lakers game this year. So there are always a lot of Lakers fans, Warriors fans, and Bucks fans at these games. And Steph was having a great night. I think he scored over 40. And Warriors fans and a couple Rockets fans, when you go to the free throw line, started to chant MVP. Mainly Warriors fans. And, of course, with my friend being a Warriors fan right next to us was chanting MVP, and the other friend started doing it too. And a lot of people in our section, in our area, were doing it. And as Steph finished up his free throws and the Rockets went back to offense, Kevin Porter Jr. was pretty pissed about the MVP, Steph getting the MVP chance, which a lot of Steph's, dominant plays were on Kevin Porter Jr. He was the one that was doing such a poor job defensively against Steph. Then Steph, the next you saw was Kevin Porter Jr. running about midcourt and looked straight towards our section and said that we were I'll just say it. He said we were some bitch-ass fans and told us to go F ourselves. So, look, obviously I'd be in that situation as well. You should be upset. You should try to make your game better or try to go out there and play better basketball when you hear someone else in your home stadium getting, MVP chance. But don't take that out on the fans. These fans pay money to go watch you every night. So at the same time, that was something that I really, really didn't like. But the final thing I will go over is Kevin Porter Jr., another game I was actually at. This was a New Year's Eve game against the Denver Nuggets. Kevin Porter Jr. got into Christian Wood got into an argument with Rockets assistant coach John Lucas at halftime. And Kevin Porter Jr., again, at the top of his lungs, threw things, screamed at the top of his lungs, and this time it was even worse because he drove off in the middle of the game and didn't return. Just left the team at halftime, which is, I think, the worst out of them all. So, look, I know there are some issues. I hope he's better with some of these issues I've mentioned. But it doesn't change the fact that he's a great player offensively. Look, I think there's a little bit of weakness defensively, but averaged 19.2 points per game and 34 minutes per game with the Rockets. Look, I think you got to think about it in this way. Is he going to get 34 minutes per game with the Clippers? Absolutely not. May he get potentially 15 to 20 minutes per game? Yeah, so think about it in this way. He averaged 19 points per game with the Rockets in 34. Let's say we divide those minutes by 2. Let's say he's getting 17 minutes per game. Then he could average, I would say, potentially 10 points per game with the Los Angeles Clippers team, which is not bad. It's not bad at all. Especially when you're coming off the bench with a guy like Norman Powell, who's one of the best scoring players off the bench in this league. So if he was able to go out there and average 10 a night, when he's coming off the second bench, when he's coming off the bench next to Norman Powell, who's a big scorer off the bench, that'd be huge. He averaged 19 points per game with 6 assists per game and 5 rebounds. I would say if he can go out there and average 10, 3, and 2, maybe a little bit more, I would say 10, 3, and 2. Those are good numbers because his numbers, just if you divide those numbers, and that's what you probably get, because he's obviously not going to get 34 minutes a night with this Clippers team. I think he'll be a part of their rotation, their backup rotation, but he's going to get around 15 to 20 minutes per game. Let's say he gets 17. I think he should be able to average 8 to 10 points per game for this Clippers team, which for this Clippers team is not bad at all. But I hope he does better than that. I really hope he succeeds because he is a good basketball player. Like I said, he's dealt through a lot in his life. And look, I'm not defending his behavior, but people have it rough sometimes. I've had it rough sometimes. But I know a lot of people have had it way more rough. He can really be a good basketball player. But at the same time, there are the issues I've talked about. But at the same time, I really hope he succeeds because he is a really good basketball player and he showed it with the Rockets. But he needs to keep it he needs to keep it together. But if he can do that, he'll be great for the Clippers, and I'm excited for his future. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out.